Hello, everyone, and welcome to Not Another Leeds podcast on this very impromptu Sunday club. Today, we bring you James, my compadre and the co-host, if you will, of Not Another Leeds podcast. Are you right, James? You right?
Yeah, I'm okay. We finally got a video out on your channel,
Yeah.
but
Some technical gremlins over at Leeds House. We welcome Paul. Thank you very much for jumping in here, mate. I know that you've just released your own video, which people should go check that out. By the way, it's a very good bit of therapy. Hence the Leeds Therapy. How are you, Paul, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm all right, thank you. I've had time to digest, reset. I've walked the dogs, kicked the cat. I'm fine.
Yeah, well, at least you haven't bummed the cat and bummed the dog. I live on the border, you see. So.
on anything.
Yeah. Right then, lads. Where do you even begin? I don't even think where do you begin? I mean, you'd think that the players would have been up for that yesterday. Ended, gone into the playoffs with a win, a bit of confidence. But Paul, I mean, do you want to just express your views via dance?
Well, I could do. There's a lot that I could do, mate. To be honest with you, and a lot that I could say, but I didn't expect us to beat Southampton. I'm always like Mr. Uber positive when it comes to stuff. When it comes to most things that are Leeds related, I try to be sort of the guy in the room that says, no, come on, we can do. But I didn't expect to get anything yesterday. The confidence within the group of players for me is obviously shot. I think rather than it being an overall manager issue or a skill issue, for me, it's a mentality issue. And I just don't think the players have had the mental cojones to be able to deal with what's been being thrown at them, be that the crap that's been spouted on social media or just what they've seen in the press anyways, and they've let their performances slip. Cree Somerville, for as good as he is, has slipped back into that player that just looks a little bit disinterested. Nonto, again, has slipped back into the player that just wants to argue with everybody. Kamara, who I think we found out's had COVID recently, I think, or something was said, wasn't he, that he's actually had COVID, which explains why he's been as shocking as what he has been. But it just, there is just that everything went wrong after the international break, didn't it? And it's capitulated with Southampton, and we now go into the playoffs with our confidence on the floor, really. And you can feel it within the fan base and what they're saying and how they're feeling. Listen, everybody's entitled to their opinions. Everybody's entitled to voice or vent whatever they say. But when I always say this, everybody should get criticism. People that pay the money to go to the tickets or for the subscriptions to watch whatever on TV, you have the right to criticize. You have the right to say what you want to say. When it starts getting personal insults and starts being a bit nasty, then you just lose the argument altogether. Like, we've been getting it in the chops from Leicester. We've been getting it in the chops from Huddersfield, who, I mean, you got relegated, but you still sing about us. Fine. And, Leicester, it's been 4 days now. So stop giving them ammunition to have a go at us. Stop responding to it. Just let them get on with it. Worry about their whatever points deduction that they're going to get and the next transfer embargo, and let them get on with it. We just have this necessity sometimes as a fan base to let ourselves let's just be really negative. And it's not helped by the players and the manager at the same time, because them performances since coming back off of internationals just haven't been good enough. End of story. Even the game at Hull was horrible, and the Middlesbrough game, horrible. It just hasn't been good enough there.
Spot on, mate. I think we can just end the stream now. I think you've just hit everything on the head there. James, anything to add to that? That brilliant monologue that he's just come out with there.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean it's ended shit, innit? That great run from January got us into that position. But again, like I said to you the last one, Dan, I like to look at the overall, and I like to look at the age of the squad, the experience of the squad, and considering them things. I mean, the quality's always been there. We know that because, I think still that we've got a lot of better quality than a lot of the teams, most of the teams in this league. But it's just been about, again, I think it's been about age and experience. And yeah, that international week, mate, it really kicked us in the balls, didn't it? It's taken 3 of our star performers, especially the Welsh guys, and it's put a lot in their heads. And now they've failed to qualify for the Europe, and they've failed automatic promotion. So I mean, their psyches going into these playoffs might be a bit low, but yeah, it's ended crap. I still like to think it's a great season. I still think it's a great season.
No, it is a good season. You can't, you can't
a
say
lot.
it's not.
Yeah, no, you can't. I mean, but this whole the vitriol that's coming out now, like he's tactically inept. He should change his way. Like, all these super managers now on Twitter telling him how that he should play the game and stuff. It's like he's got 90 points with a young team, inexperience. Give him this summer, he'll have a full summer. He'll probably, all of these players that he's got in haven't performed to the best of their abilities. We can see that now. We'll see how it goes. See how it goes, mate.
Right. Yeah. Right, Zane, I'm going to try, mate, I love you, right? But I don't think this is true. Missing out on Matt O'Reilly or even Hamer cost us big time. I don't think Matt O'Reilly was going to come anyway, buddy. Hamer, he was always going to go Premier League. But I understand what you're saying, mate. Like, these, Victor Gyökeres, he was there for the taking. If we'd have got him, look at him now, mate. He's absolutely bossing it. I think it's like 38 goal involvements in for, is it Lisbon? I think he's at. But he's always going to go stuff there. But we'll talk about that a bit more later on. It's like for the first 15 minutes yesterday, I thought we played all right, good, not enough. It was okay, but then, like you said, Paul, the Somerville of old not tracking your runners. You've got, when the man marking system, you've got Ampadu and Rodon marking the forwards. As soon as they split open, boom, it's like Moses straight through. Do you know what I mean? And that first goal was just a shambles. How many? He could have passed about 3 different players, Paul. I mean, I hate to say it, but Jesse Marsh-esque.
Well, it was, because everybody was drawn to the ball like a magnet, because it was like they collectively suddenly went, oh shit, we've done this wrong. And it was, like you said, it was the passing of the ways, and the whole entire defence got moved from right to left. And by the time that ball was being put into the back stick, literally there was 8 players just all stood in the 18-yard box. It's just like, you're making it too easy for yourselves. And see, this is the one thing that Farke did that was wrong, was changing it to that man marking system for that game. Why? There's literally no point, unless you think to yourself, well, Ipswich aren't going to lose, so we might as well just have a go and see if we can make sort of this work in a kind of way, which is a bit of a silly thing to do. But just that Jesse Marsh mentality just was awful to see.
Yeah, it's crazy sometimes, mate. Like, I mean, I know that the sole frustration, I think, with Leeds fans at the minute is that we're not attacking enough. Because I think Bielsa, I said it last night, that Bielsa spoiled us massively. Do you know what I mean? Even if we were 5 or 6-0 down, we'd still have a go. And a lot of people don't like, when Byron were passing it back. But when Byron looks to go forward, the winger's already gone forward and he's already marked. So why would he pass to you? There'd be no chance to even make a move, probably, because all it seems to be is pass around the back, and it goes to Millier, and then he'll just hoof it and it'll go straight through and then back to there. And then that's all the teams need to do now, is just wait for us to get bored, try a risky pass, and we'll lose the ball. But James, I mean, you said you were going to make risky things and stuff, but what were risky about that? Pirro, mate, I mean, he did okay, didn't he?
He did better than he did the other game, to be fair, and he did a bit of working as well. He tracked him back well.
Important to say, to interrupt, the one chance he had, he scores. Doesn't get any other
exactly.
One chance he got, he scored.
Yeah, he did. He did score. It was just to me, watching the game, I know you say we started well. To me, it just looked like all the other games this season. To be honest, not this season, since the international break, where we look like we're doing okay, but we're not really creating any clear-cut shots, chances. I mean, did we have a shot on target second half? I don't think we did. Don't think we had a shot. It was just very, very mediocre, very, very sort of laziness. We were doing a lot of things that we haven't done all season, like Paul said, the defence just all standing around. It's like it's been unheard of all season. These last 6 games have just really took it out of us. But the goal, yeah, mate. I wanted to punch my telly. I wanted to punch my telly so hard when I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you're all running, like he's like 6-year-olds running for a ball, and then all the Southampton players just stood in the background like, oh, you can take this one. You can have this shot. It was just deep breaths. Deep breaths.
Millie were getting a lot of flack for the first goal. Do you agree, Paul? Or both goals even?
Yes. And it's the first time that I'm gonna really nobody comes out of it pretty. And it is funny because he still gets the award for the Golden Glove, doesn't he, for the season? And it's just like, I don't how I've always been sort of not one of Mellier's biggest supporters, but I always try to if I'm going to criticize the players, what I don't want to do is I don't want to do it with that kind of real sort of emotion and everything up in the air and all of that kind of stuff. I want to try and just give myself a couple of minutes to cool down and then say something about it, because I feel kind of you take the emotion out of it and you can be a little bit more logical and systematic about it. But sometimes his positioning is a bit massively off. He doesn't cover his near post very well. He hasn't done all season. And I don't know what calcium products he's drinking, but his wrists are flimsy, to say the least. And if I not that I would ever wish anybody to leave, but it might be time for potentially him and for his own career and his own good to maybe look to pastures new, and we look to bring in a new keeper potentially. Maybe, I don't know.
I asked that because I've seen this comment from Dr. Cox. Quadruple 2. Millier needs to be sold in the summer, and Firpo needs to go. Now, Firpo, he might want something new, but personally, I think he stays. James, I'll put this question to you: do you get rid of both, or do you just get rid of? Do you get rid of Millier? I think. I mean, you've got Victor Johansson from Rotherham, who's a great keeper, by the way. He's going for 900k. Yeah, but he's still a good shot stopper. You know, he's not. He stops the shots, man.
The funny thing is when people say to you, "Oh, this keeper's a good shot stopper," I mean, that's the minimum requirement of a goalkeeper, isn't it? To fucking stop shots. So, yeah, I mean. Yeah. Meslier, I've always liked Meslier. I always think that there is an amazing keeper in there if you can get hold of him and give him the right coaching, because he's fucking huge. He's good. His reactions are quite good for a big man. But he just seems, I don't know, just seems a bit flimsy. Yeah, like you say, his wrists are a bit biscuity. Could sell him. I think Firpo. The last few games, I think he's been probably one of our better players. Even yesterday, I know he got done for the second goal, but he was all right yesterday as well. Like, probably one of the only players. And it's weird for me to say that because I always thought he'd be gone because he cannot defend. But now, depending on where we are, if we go up, I think he might be gone. But if we don't make it, I think he might stay.
He's got a genuine affection for the club, though, hasn't he? And I think the club the fan base have started to find him quite endearing, really. I know Popey put that tweet out yesterday and he got a lot of shit for it because he said that Firpo was the first down the tunnel at the end of the game. And everybody went mental with him because Firpo was the first one to go around the entire ground to go and say thank you very much to everybody and apologise. That's why he was the first one down the tunnel. It's just like, Jesus Christ. It's just...
Yeah.
Everybody's stressed. Everybody's annoyed. Everybody's depressed. Everybody's had enough. I think everybody's knackered. This season has been ridiculously long. And we're up to 33 out of 46 games of ours this season have been televised. So that means that 33 out of 46 games have been moved, rescheduled, put on at different times, etc. And listen, it's not an excuse, but it is a factor.
No. Yeah.
No, I 100% agree, mate, because even the Middlesbrough will move to Monday and we had QPR on the Friday. Now, that's not a long turnaround at all. If you've got a knock, that means you're not training, you're recovering, and then it's just, we go back to that. Zane,
Especially
mate,
this stage
come
of
on.
the season as well.
Zane, come on, bro. We love the club. You know what I mean? It is what it is, man. Chill out, man. Have a croissant. I'm only joking. Zane knows I'm only messing.
I want to get a passion merchant scarf. I want to get a passion merchant scarf.
Passion fruit merchant. Actually, one of passion fruit merchant. Yeah, I mean, it's so frustrating because you feel like, right, it's a miracle needed to happen yesterday. It didn't. We knew it. Paul touched on it. Huddersfield fans were singing Leeds are falling apart. I predict a riot, which is really Tim Potty in my opinion, because they've just been relegated. Why are you celebrating being relegated by talking about us? Fair play to Ipswich. They fully deserve it. They didn't give up in the end. But I think that I'm not going to make excuses for Leeds United. At the end of the day, we haven't been good enough, and that's on the players and Farker at times. But anyway, we'll go.
This season, let's point that out, because other seasons we would have been good enough. And I know people can say it and go, oh yeah, but it's true though. We've got a phenomenal fucking point tally, 90 points, and we finished third. It's incredible. It's not been good enough this season, but just that needs to be highlighted.
I understand what you're saying. Considering when Farker came in, if you look at the team sheet against Cardiff and Birmingham, night and day compared to what we have now, isn't it?
Yeah.
But anyway, let's move forward.
None of us knew who wanted to stay at that point. Nobody knew who wanted to stay.
No.
Exactly, mate. You had Nonto doing his little rebellious thing. You had Sinistera at the time, a bit of an attitude behind the thing. Yeah, threatening to sue the club. You know what I mean? It's a bit of a turmoil, but I think we'll get thoughts at the end of the thing because when I get through these questions. Moving ahead from Melier then, Dr. Cox again says, Gruev and Kamara partnership needs changing in the summer. Now, I partially agree with this in the respect of, I think Ampadu should play in midfield now. I'd love to get another centre-back in. Cooper, I think Cooper's played he might get a shine in the playoffs. You never know. He might even play Cooper and Ampadu and Gruev. Who knows? And Kamara, sorry. Who knows? But I want to get your thoughts on that, Paul, mate. What do you think? Do you think does he change it up now? Does he throw Cooper in for these next two games?
No, he won't do. He just won't do, because he needs to rely on the potential of what Rodon and Ampadu is. They need some form of counselling before the playoffs happen. But there needs to be that consistency needs to remain. Cooper won't get put in. Cooper isn't up to speed. And listen, I love Cooper. I think he's brilliant. I think he's been an unbelievable servant for the club. But he's not ready to step into that pressure. He hasn't played enough in terms of the minutes, so he won't be up to speed with it all. The issue that you've got is with, in terms of the Gruev and Kamara side of things, if one of those isn't playing right, then it affects the entire thing. And what seems to have been happening over the last couple of games is obviously with Kamara being ill or poorly or having COVID or whatever, that's really affecting his performance. So what you're finding is Gruev is having to do the work of two men constantly to try and keep that in check a little bit. I think probably Archie Gray's a little bit fatigued as well. So whether or not they bring Archie Gray back into midfield, who knows? Because then it's Byram at right back. Roberts could be back into the fray as well, because he might be. I know he was on the bench, so yeah, it's different. But he's not going to change the Ampadu Rodon partnership. Not for the playoffs. No chance.
I don't think I can see him changing anything, if I'm being honest with you. Rumour has it that Roberts and James should be fit for the playoffs. Does he bring Roberts in, give Gray a break?
Yeah.
That experience, maybe the pressure might be getting to Gray. And then even starting Dan James over Nonto now. go to the comments again. Zane again, another question. You think still not being able to make reinforcements in Jan might also be a reason, or not rotating the squad? Now, I think not rotating the squad. He did it against Stoke. It didn't come off, and I think that gave him it shivered his timbers, because he changed it, and he's not done it a lot since, has he, James?
No, well, he's done it when he felt he's needed to. Like, he has made changes throughout the season. He has done that. He has switched it up a bit. And in January, you look at how we started off really well, and Bamford was our hero and saviour, wasn't he? So he was like, oh, actually, we'll get covering right back, and maybe we'll get through this. And it just didn't work out for him. I mean, probably cutting the cloth a little bit accordingly with all the fucking money problems that are going on. So trying to scrape through, I reckon. But I think maybe a couple more in January might have helped us over the line, maybe. But I don't even think it's that. I just think it's that fucking international break, mate. I really do. I think the high that we were on, even though there were games we were playing not great, but we were digging results out. We had that impetus to go and win the games. As soon as we come back, we had players injured, good players in form injured. We talked about the Welsh boys. I think that's key to the end of the season. We'd have got 2 wins out of these last 6 games, 2 more wins. We could have easily done it and would have been up, but it's what it is, mate.
Yeah,
we have to just suck it up.
I think I was watching Jay's video earlier, and I'm sure he said something along the lines of, it's just, it is a very young squad, but I think half of these players, or the majority of these players, haven't played more than 35 games a season before, and that's like, I think,
Yeah,
if you
I've said that before, mate.
Yeah, and they're just tired.
Sorry, mate. He's having Rode on as captain as well when he's been obviously involved in sides that have been relegated. So it's that pressure.
Ampadu.
He's only 24, isn't he? Ampadu, sorry.
Yeah.
Captain, and he's only been involved in teams that have been relegated. So there's that side of it in terms of a mental side of things. You're asking a 24-year-old to captain a side that is maybe not used to being that captain at times as well. It's that the whole mental side of it plays a huge part in it, and I agree with that. The number of games that they've played has been ridiculous this season
for a lot of them, because they're not used to it. Like Ipswich, we say about the quality and their resources, but they did this last year. They know the game. They've been through this. They've been through a 46 game tight fucking finish where the 3 teams have gone extraordinary lengths to get the points totals that they've got. They've done this. So and Leicester, they've got fucking FA Cup winners and Premier League winners in their team still. Experience,
Champions League experience as well.
Champions League, yeah, massive at this stages of these stages of seasons where the heat is really put on you, and we haven't got any of that in our team. We haven't. We've got experience in sort of Premiership and quality, but again, the age and the experience has really probably cost us this time around. But we learn from it, don't we?
Yeah, I think we have got a great squad. Don't get me wrong, but I think when people see Rutter cost 35 million, they think, he's top notch. He's going to be, he's come from Hoffenheim, 35 million. Yeah, he cost 35 million on paper, but when you saw him when he came on the Premier League, he didn't know what to do. He played majority on the wing, I believe, for Hoffenheim. We've played him as a 9 and a 10, and I think it's because that number 10 role is new to him. But I think he's been absolutely knackered. I'm sure he only played 10 games for Hoffenheim or something, because something like that. Anyway, what do I know? I'm just some chubby guy on a
hernia injury as well, which isn't the easiest. I mean, if you want a place to not have to be putting any pressure onto, it's your stomach, isn't it? And he's had to come back from a hernia operation, running around trying to perform at the same sort of level. And that's the other issue, is that we haven't had a proper official, in inverted commas, number 10 to be able to play that role. I've always maintained throughout the entire season, or had the thought, that one of the biggest issues when Farke came in is that, as much as he's moulded this squad and done really well, I think if he'd have come in right at the very, very start of the summer and had the chance to pick the bones out of the squad and make his own decisions, we'd have probably 3 or 4 different players in the squad, different to what we've actually got now. So I still don't think this is 100% the squad that Farke wants.
No, like I believe that we bought Pirro because they went right. He was the second best goal scorer in the league. Let's get him. He knows him because I can't remember when we signed him. Maybe Farker was going through the process of signing his contract or whatever. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. Chances are I am, but yeah, that's life. But you just saw it just doesn't seem to fit our situation, our team. Sorry, and Lockie and Andrea, who watch a lot of football and are very good tactically, they said at the beginning of the season that I don't see how he fits. It might, like you say, mate, like it could have been a totally different team, which I've seen. Here we go from Warwick. Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, mate. Whatever league we're in, there has to be a massive overhaul of the team. And for the first time in a long time, we have owners who can do this and do it properly. Now, sorry, got that down. And that's what we just relatively just said there, Paul. I think if we don't go up, I think you've got the likes of Cooper, Dallas, Greenwood. You got Rodon going back, Connor Roberts going back, question marks over Somerville. Now, there's 8 or 9 players which could be leaving next season. Now, the 49ers need to identify who's coming in. But, I mean, what's your thoughts on that, James? Do you see a massive overhaul in the summer?
No.
Providing we don't go up, that is context to that.
I don't see a massive overhaul. I just don't think we can have a massive overhaul. I think even though if we do go up, I know it will be a bit easier financially, but it still won't be like we can just go out and go, yeah, blah. We'll still need to be careful. And I think they will be careful because you're seeing what's happening to fucking Everton and Nottingham Forest, Leicester. So they'll be careful. I think we'll see a few people come in and a few go, but I don't think it'll be a complete. All of yous are going, brand new squad coming in. I think there's still a lot of potential in our team. That's the problem that we've got. We've got a lot of players that won't hit their peak for a few years. And it's like whether we keep hold of them for that to happen or we sell them on. Like Somerville, I think Somerville will be gone. Either way, actually, I generally think even if we go up, I think there's a lot of clamour for him. Like Liverpool and stuff are after him. And I think, not that he's a bad person, but I think he's sort of got the mentality where he'll be like, yeah, I'll go to Liverpool. But we'll replace them. That's the good thing. We'll replace them with good quality, I think. More time to buy players as well. And more, as Paul said, like more time for the summer for him to get his team ready, get the squad ready, get his first team. Because I think he was, changing it throughout the season because I don't think he actually knew what his best team was, and he was sort of making do, switching Bamford out and stuff. So a whole summer, yeah, we can judge him a bit better next year, I think.
You agree with that, Paul?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Great, short and sweet, love it. Matt Odes, yeah. he says, sorry, mate, I missed your comment here, and thanks for the comment. He says, Farker is to blame for not rotating the team early in the year. The boys look shattered and lifeless.
He did rotate it.
I mean, he has rotated, but who can he rotate for? If you look at the bench, you got like Nonto, maybe 1 or 2 players. You got like, why is he not playing Geldart? Do you think, Paul? Do you think he just doesn't trust him? Is he one of the ones that you were talking about?
System thing. Go on.
Yeah, it doesn't fit into that type of system. Again, I mean, Geldart could play potentially in number 10, but you're asking almost rather than it being a square peg in a round hole, you're asking for an octagonal shape to go into a round hole. It almost fits, but it's not quite right, if that makes sense. I would see, for me, this is if he was to play 4-4-2, Pirou would work absolute fucking wonders in a 4-4-2 system, because he could then play off of. You could put Pirou and Geldart into a 4-4-2 system, and it would be frightening, just because of how good both of those players potentially can be. I think the issue with Geldart is the injuries that he's had. He's really been unfortunate with injuries. He's been loaned out a couple of times now as well. He has the potential to do it, but with Geldart, he needs to have a run of games. It takes him about 4 or 5 games to get up to pace, I think, in terms of what he's needing to do and how it needs to run. But we didn't have the time to do that so far this season. When it came around, it got very, very, not that it's not serious, but it got even more serious very, very quickly as the league was going on and we were trying to chase down that that 17 points and then fighting to try and get automatic at the same time as well. It's that, are they ready to be changed and put into that system? And they're not, because they haven't had the game time previously to be able to do that. And playing in the 21s and then playing in the Championship is a completely different kettle of fish. Completely different kettle of fish. There is a player in there. He's just not quite ready. I'd love him to have a proper pre-season and just to be injury free as well.
Yeah, we'd all love an injury free, really good player. Is the technical term, I believe.
Yeah.
James, I mean, if we look, I don't even know. I'm that flabbergasted, and I just can't believe we went out on such a limp note. Do you know what I mean? I mean, looking at the second goal yesterday, it was calamitous, wasn't it? The ball gets kept in, and then he's just strode past. I think it was Thurpo.
Yeah,
and and then Voldemort just swoops in and just dinks it past Melier. I mean, by this point, mate, is your telly even on the wall anymore?
Nah, it's through it. Oh. It's through the wall, through the back wall, out into the garden. Yeah, mate. Do you know what? We scored and I was excited, but then I thought, I don't know. We just feel like we're gonna concede again. Just the way they were running for us. Very unlike us this season. The way Southampton ran for us yesterday. It was any one player just running through, and they did. I mean, Andy Hinchcliffe was pissing me off because he kept saying it, because I hate him. He kept going, every time Southampton get the ball, they look like they're going to score. And I'm like, yeah, you're right there, mate. But yeah, I think it ended how it was going to end with the way our last few games have gone. I'm just hoping that we fucking change it now for these 2 games, and we at least give a good account of ourselves, because that's what we haven't done for the last 8 games or so.
For those who are wondering what Andy Hinchcliffe looks like, I've got a photo of him. Here he is. You don't have a clue. He's a nice, beautiful
I hate him, mate. Every single game, doesn't matter who we're playing, this team that we're playing are amazing. We're garbage.
Yeah. It's never we're good. It's always their shit and we're not as good. Do you know what I mean?
They've made a mistake. Yeah.
Leeds won. They've lost. Do you know what I mean? I hate this guy team, mate. It does me head in.
Yeah.
They won't be getting a Christmas card off me this year. Yeah. So let's just 5 words or less, Paul. You can use expletives if you like. What would you say about that game yesterday?
Horseshit.
Yeah. Are you counting that as 1 word or 2?
No, I'll count that as 1 word. Horseshit. Tired. Very upset.
That's 4.
Horseshit. Tired. Very upset.
Worried. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Very upset. Worried.
What about you, James, mate? If you were to, I mean, where do you improve on that, mate? What would you do?
What would I do? Yeah. I don't even think it's about.
Looking forward now.
Do you know what? People keep going on about Farke, and he can change. He can put players in. He can change his system. He's not going to do that. But quite frankly, you have to look at the players as well, because players are doing things that they haven't been doing all season. They're slow. The choices of passes that they're making. The one thing that pisses me off that they do, and they've done it all season, but they've got away with it, is where they'll get a ball into midfield and they'll have time to turn and go, but then they'll play that pass back. And I'm like, right, you just reset this whole attack. And it happens, and I know why they do it. They're trying to pull the players around and make space, but it's so fucking frustrating. I think it's just giving the players a kick up their ass and going, look, you've done this, you've done well all season. We know you're good players. You fucking, you're letting yourselves down here. Just go out and fucking give a performance, because they can all do it. I think it's like, Farke can only do so much, mate. You can only do so much. I think the players have to take a little bit of responsibility, but this is where experience 100%. Comes into it. Do you know what I mean?
100%, mate, because Farke does the training, sets them up tactically, tells them how he wants them to play, and then shoves them over that white line. There's nothing more that he can do. All he has to do is watch them try and play out their tactics. Now, what he can do to influence the game is substitutions. I think his first sub were about 60 minutes yesterday. Yeah. I mean, look, like let's close the door on Southampton now, because I think with 200 people watching, I think I don't want to be responsible for boring 200 people. It's not 200 people really. Paul, looking forward to these playoffs. Yeah. It's all I've got 200 accounts open on my phone. Paul, looking forward to the first of all, are you confident, mate?
No, I'm not. I don't say that to say that I think that we're going to lose. I think that everybody's confidence is a little bit shot. What we need to see something over the next few days before the game. We need to see some training videos. We need to see some interviews from the players. We need to see the lads having a laugh together, all of that kind of stuff, just to get a bit of confidence on. And they, a bit like what James says, they need reminding that they have the potential to immortalise themselves within the club over the next couple of weeks. And as young as they are, this is something that will be huge and will live with them forever. And they want it to be the positive one. But, I just, like I say, I'm a happy clapper most of the time, but I'm not confident because I'm worried about it because of how we've played.
I agree, mate. I mean, what more can you say? As a Leeds fan, we all have this internal gut-wrenching little gremlin that says it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Some of them actually have Twitter accounts, believe it or not. James, you're always positive. I mean, I think Duracell are putting your picture on the plus side of the battery.
Yeah. Yes, they are. Thank you, Duracell. Yeah. I mean, like, my version of a supporter is very different from everyone else's. It's like, I feel like I'm here to support them as opposed to them being there to give me pleasure type thing. It works both ways, I know that. But like, I'm always going into games thinking it's going to be the best version of ourselves and we're going to win the game. At the end of the game, if we don't win, I can criticize them, I can say the shit. But I like to go into games, every season, believing that it's going to be the best version of ourselves. I know that's not always true and it's just shit, but I'd rather be this way than being like, we're going to be shit, we're going to lose, and then just going through that traumatic game and then going, I was right, we're shit. It's no fun for me.
The thing is with Leeds fans on Twitter, and I've been guilty of this before in the past, where we put our own like sort of insecurities on there and say a lot of people put this is going to happen, and then if it does happen, they'll go, see, told you so, and they'll go to extreme lengths just to be negative. All I do is just ring James up and he'll show me his bum and I'll be like, yeah, I'm happy again. And that's everybody needs a James in his life.
And my ass.
Dr. Cox, he's at 200 bank accounts. I wish, mate, it's 200 OnlyFans accounts. That of me, I don't subscribe.
Different angles of his body, 200 different angles.
Zane in the comments again. My man Zane. How can we resolve our set piece problems, bro? We don't have a problem. We don't have. Yeah.
Let Purpo take the corners.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, the dude can actually put a decent cross in. Get him on set pieces. His free kick was a bit shit.
Yeah,
get him on set pieces.
Let him take the corners. Him and Gruev are really good at set pieces. It just Somerville stop taking them because you can't beat the first man. Stop it.
Yeah.
Gruev likes to float them in.
But again, as well, it's like when the balls are coming in the box, there's very little movement. It's very much like find me, and then they've got no sort of run up. Like there's no run up, there's no sort of timing on the runs. It's just like they're hitting the heads. And yeah, I think it's Bielsa as well because he didn't give a shit about. He thought it was cheating, didn't he? Cheating. Just kick it in the box, and we'll just see what happens. I think Farker might be the same. It's cheating.
Yeah, it's all. Yeah, it's. I mean, corners, which we've always been crap at them. At first, we couldn't defend them, and now we can't score from them. I mean, what would you bring a set piece in coaching right now, Paul? Would you get on LinkedIn?
No, it's far too late to bring one in now. It just this is also as well where we've really missed Strouk. We've Pascal. We've missed him on set pieces because he would normally make himself available for headers and give people something to aim at. And you've mentioned it yourself in terms of being static and not moving towards the ball. There's been none of that whatsoever. So it's like Rodon. You'd expect Rodon to score an absolute hatful, but he just doesn't. And I think it's because everybody just thinks, well, there's no point because it's not going anywhere. But what are we at now? We're at like 150 corners since we scored.
Yeah, since December the 26th.
Going for a record, haven't we?
Yeah.
Come on, let's get up to 200, guys. Come on. Push them numbers.
Towards.
Yeah. I mean, right. So would you make any changes then, Paul? Would you make any changes? You're the manager for the first leg. I believe it's away at Carrow Road, isn't it?
Yeah, it's first one's away. Top.
What you thinking, mate? Do you just what's your lineup?
If fit, Roberts is in. Firpo stays in. Rodon and Ampadu stay in because that has to stay where it is. Meslier, you're not going to change Meslier at this point of the season. I'm having, again, if fit, Dan James in on the right. I'm also having Somerville stays on the left-hand side. He's got to, even if you're annoyed at him, whatever, he stays in. I'd have Gruev is literally one of the first names on the team sheet for me. I'd then maybe potentially look at the difference between Kamara and Gray. That's probably the biggest headache for me. Rutter has to start in the number 10 role, and then it's just a case of if Bamford's fit, then Bamford starts.
Yeah, I mean, these are two big games. Big games for him to go missing now. I mean, I said this the other day. I think I said it on Friday night as well on the main pod. You know, if the pressure's got to him there, what's he going to be like in the playoffs, especially a final if we get there? Do you know what I mean? That's me skipping ahead. What about you, James, mate? Is anything that you change?
I'd go. Yeah, I'd probably go the same majority. Maybe keeping on to one though and bring James on near the end to fucking just use his little fucking Speedy Gonzalez on him. But yeah, Bamford coming in. Yeah, pros. I don't know, man. It's that none of them fill me with a lot of confidence, but I think we sort of slightly play better when Bamford plays as a team. So yeah, I'd probably go Bamford. But yeah, Nonto comes on starts, and then James comes on.
Smarty says here, shout out to Smarty. Like, I'd like to see Roberts in at right back. We need as much experience and all heads as possible. That's what I said earlier. And that's what I believe. I think I'd go with Ampadu Rodon in the middle. I'd like Roberts because I think he gives us a more of an attacking threat as well. Roberts, he just wants to move forward. And then Firpo on the left.
Very, very vocal as well.
He is, yeah, because he's got that experience. He's a championship winner. Let's not forget. You know, he did it with Burnley last year. I probably just stick with Gruev and Kamara, and then you've got just maybe Nonto, Rutter. For me, I'd start Joseph. I at this point, I want to start Joseph. I were against it a couple of games ago. I just think he's going to be hungry for it, and he's got something to prove, and he gets on the end of Firpo's crosses. That's me personally. Let me know in the comments who you'd have up top: Bamford, Pirro, or Joseph. I wish I could put a poll in, but I don't know how to. It's not that much technical of a podcast here. What's this? War Piglet says Farker's not lost to Norwich.
Oh, don't say that. Bielsa didn't lose to Derby either, did he?
Yeah, I
know. Smarty again with another good comment. I'm trying not to piss on too many chips, but we look knackered, mentally weak, and we've gone from being solid to really fragile defensively. I wanted a decent performance yesterday. It didn't come. Honestly, I 100% agree. There's nothing more we can say about that, can we, Paul?
No. Well, I can say one more thing. I think the lads knew about it being 2-0 down. I think that got onto the pitch and got to them. And I think a lot of them turned the performance down because they thought, let's not do anything stupid to get injured for the actual playoff games themselves, potentially. I'm not saying that's what happened. That's, again, it's an opinion, and like our souls, everybody's got one.
You heard it here first. Paul said he got onto the pitch before anyone else, and it's Paul's fault it got on the pitch. Everybody, doesn't
That's
like
why we
Paul
lost.
anymore.
It's Paul's fault.
It's all Paul's fault. Yeah, I mean, the pressure's big now. We're in the playoffs. We shouldn't be there personally. It's just I'm really pissed off that we didn't sign off with a win yesterday, and maybe we're just leading everyone into a false sense of security, and we're just going to absolutely romp the two teams because going up through the playoffs is much better. Do you think, James?
I definitely agree. Going up through the playoffs is the best way to go. We just never done it. The other thing as well, guys, that we have to take into consideration that the other two teams didn't have is we had a kit that we weren't allowed to win in as well, which really took away some of our points tally. So maybe next season we don't have a kit that we can't win in, and then we might be better. That's what I'm thinking.
This is how when you wring your wet clothes and little droplets come out. That's the positivity coming out of this podcast. Now I have to Smarty. I've seen this. Sorry, I'm bringing up Smarty every 2 minutes. He's my boyfriend. I've been having a 90-point argument on Twitter most of the day, which I've seen and laughed at. Tired of it all now. Want it to end. I think we'll be forced. Will be a force next season in mind. Now we talked about that earlier. Now a full pre-season, better players in, and away we go. Now, just to touch on all the EFL teams, not even EFL. There's a Brighton fan at one point I saw having a pop at Leeds United. Now I don't know if you saw Friday night's sponsor, but they've still paid me, so I'm going to put it out on here. For all the people watching, I've got to do the voice. Feel the obsession. Obsessed by Leeds United. And here are the reviews. The reviews are, I'm obsessed and I can't help it. That's by FoxLover69. Give it 4 stars. I use this on my dog. It's that good. By Fingered My Dog. It's quite an unfortunate name. And it gives it 5 stars. So, if you use it.
Did you use it on his finger, does he? Spray it on his finger before. Sorry.
On his dog.
Yeah. You put it on his
Yeah, he's put it on his dog. It must ketchup flavour. Right, before we get done by the RSPCA, anybody got anything else that they want to talk about? Any questions in the comments?
I'm good.
Anybody want to say? I go on. I agree with Smarty as well. I think we did speak about it. Next season we will be a much better outfit. I think we'll be a more complete team. I'm just hoping that he does figure out this whole fucking low block conundrum. I think that there needs to be something there that he works on throughout the summer, because despite our collapse at the end of the season, that playing against that type of team has really fucked us over this season. We've run out of ideas, so I'm hoping that is what I mean. The long ball over the top is the one that we haven't utilised enough, and it's come off a lot. The West Brom game is one that stands out to me, where we couldn't get past them. We did two over the balls. We should have had 2 penalties. So yeah, but just that bit.
Yeah, just don't forget the Ampadu ball over to Rutter against. Was it against Millwall? I think no.
Was it?
It wasn't Millwall.
No, Swansea.
Yeah, it was. It was where he brought it down, controlled it, and just finished it absolutely beautifully. But yeah, I agree that over the top ball is there.
It is. We just don't use it enough. I think it's against his way of playing, isn't it? So I think he likes to do it his way. But I think he needs to come to a point in the game where it's like, right, boys, try and do this other one now, because this isn't working.
But does that come down to individual performances, though? Because we all know that Rutter can unlock a defence by doing a moment of magic. But if he's not doing anything for 88 minutes, it's one of them. I've been an advocate for dropping Rutter for the past couple of games. As mental as it might seem, he's not been good enough. And there were a point where 2 or 3 games in a row where it would go into Rutter's feet. He couldn't hold it, and he'd lose the ball. Now, if you're Rodon or Ampadu, you're bollocking him because you're knackered. You're constantly chasing runners, and you just don't want that. But it comes down to not having that player that is confident to thread them through balls. Also a striker. Do you know what I mean? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, or just standing up and like being on field and as a player going, this the way we're doing this isn't working, and having like the authority to go, boys, let's switch it up a little bit. I mean, Fight can only do so much from the sidelines. He's got his system, he's got his way of playing. Some of the players need to like think for themselves a little bit and go have a little word around and do it that way. It shouldn't always come down to like blames on Farker. These players are like professional footballers. They should know how to pass balls and work out teams a little bit better. Like not necessarily having a plan B, but sort of going, it's not working the way we're doing it. Let's try and figure another way out. But
just shoot more. Just shoot more.
Yes,
there is shoot. That does my head in. Just have a go, because then
have a crack.
You might steal the ball and you might lose the ball and it might just fall off. I was just looking in comments there that Smarty made with regards to would we willingly let Nonto and Somerville go?
That's the next question. Yeah.
See, sorry, I preempted it. Sorry, so it's almost like
you're right. I know it's great minds and all that.
Right there, mate. It's the one without question, Somerville for me. I'd let him go without worrying about it. Nonto, I'd be a little bit more about it, but Somerville, 100%, I'd let him go because of the money that we get for him.
And we could probably buy more effective players for this league. I know it sounds mental, but we've been over-reliant on Somerville this year, over-reliant on him. So having a bit more spread around the pitch might help us out a little bit as well.
Yeah, I mean, to answer that, I think Somerville goes if we don't go up. I think Liverpool are sniffing around 35 million to 40 million. I've seen Nonto, if he's made a deal with Leeds United saying, look, if you just crack on for the rest of the season, we'll listen to offers at the end of the season, regardless what league we're in. I mean, because that got resolved pretty quick. I know he's sacked his agent and that, because his agent did the same with Zaniolo at Roma.
Yeah.
And a bit of a dick about it there, but that's a life lesson for Nonto, is that. And hopefully won't do that again. But I think, Nonto he's got a chance to make a good name for himself at Leeds United. He's a good player. We all know what he's capable of, and he's only young again, and he's got a big chance to grow. And we're better in the Championship. Probably one of the hardest league in the world for me personally. And I'm being a bit biased there, but maybe Smarty can.
It's one of the best to watch, 100%.
Yeah.
Anybody can beat anybody, and it's not like you've got 3 mini leagues like you do in the Premier League. You've got the top 6, you've got the middle, whatever, and you've got the bottom 5 or 6. A question here, maybe Smarty can answer this one. Liam says, can we talk about the atmosphere and where has the Leeds style gone during games? Do we only really sing when we're winning? The crowd's nerves are transferring to the players. Fans are waiting. Now, I can only put that down to that, I mean, Smarty can tell you more because he's there, day in, day out. I think he lives underneath the South Stand.
He is the South Stand.
He is the South Stand. I think it's just, the groans and stuff, it's only natural. It's human nature. If you're nervous, you're quiet, aren't you? I mean, Paul, what do you reckon to that question, mate?
I've been to a few games this season. I've been lucky enough to get tickets, and I've sat kind of all over the ground. The atmosphere has been weird this season. There's been that edge to it, and I still think there's a hangover from us getting relegated. I genuinely do think there's a hangover from us getting relegated, and the fans are just. There's some fans within the ground that have this. I call it the self-entitlement bug, who think that we should just be sweeping aside everybody, and if we're not within 20 minutes, it's like it's the end of the world all of a sudden. Whereas you can't always be like that. And listen, when it's going good at Ellen Road, it's ridiculous. It's the best ground around. I don't care what anybody says. I know we're all biased, we're all Leeds fans, but when it's on song, it's unbelievable. But when the fans think that when the team isn't doing what they should be doing, they're just this air of just creeping in of like worry and stress, and it does transfer down onto the players. You can't say that it doesn't. It's weird. It's just the atmosphere has been strange at times this season, to say the least.
James?
Yeah, because of the expectation as well of coming down from the Premier League, they're expecting us to go straight back up, but they don't take into account everything else that goes on. But you know what my favourite time of Leeds fans is? You know, when we were really, really, really shit and we're losing and the game, no one gives a fuck about the game, and the Leeds fans just go mental and they're just swinging their scarves. And it does affect the players. Like, you'll see the players, it lifts them. It does lift them. I mean, I think there are times this season where we could, like, the fans in the stadium could have been a bit more. But again, yeah, it's the anxiety of expectation, entitlement, and yeah, I mean, I'm like a supporter, so when I go, I'm like, let's just fucking support them. It doesn't matter if they're playing bad. Let's keep going, keep going, keep going. At the end of the game, if we've lost the game, we've given their all, whatever, then you can criticise. But yeah, it's just that entitlement, mate.
Yeah.
It's
Smarty says that they've talked about on their pod. If you don't follow the Ought to Know Better podcast, please do go follow them. They're a great bunch of lads. And he says that they've talked about it on their podcast, a few times, and they've put it down to two things. So number one is the kickoff times and the fact we're messed around. 3 p.m. kickoffs are hard to come by. People aren't drinking, etc. And two, the football can be a little boring, and the football is possession based and tame. Paul, just your quick thoughts on that, mate.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. Like I said, well, I mentioned it earlier on in this pod that 33 out of the 46 games have been changed for TV and changed and rescheduled for TV times, which makes it practically impossible for everybody to arrange meetups, to get together, to get into the to the Peacock beforehand. Or I've done it where I got the train into Leeds and then walked down to the Costa Coffee just by the Hilton, where you can get the bus to go to the ground, and there's a pub there as well that you can go into that everybody sits in and has a few bevies before they get to the ground. And it's impossible to organise anything because the times change all the time, which then, if people aren't loose and liquored up a little bit, that can kind of have a really negative impact on the atmosphere as well, because people aren't singing, they aren't being gregarious, all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, no, I get that. And the football, yeah, it can be boring at times. It's been effective, but it can be boring at times.
Yeah, once again, the Bielsa ball just ruined us all, doesn't it? You've got people that travel from across the country and from other countries that have already prepaid their flights and hotels just for Sky to move it to the day before or something like that. It's just ridiculous, and they shouldn't have this monopoly of being able to move games at their will, because it can disadvantage teams, not just us personally. It can be for any other team. I think Leicester had like 3 days between one game. It was crazy, man. Because
it's not for the fan going games. It's not for the game going fans, is it anymore? Football. No, it's for fucking people all over the place around the world watching it, and it's a shame. They need to fucking bring it back home a little bit more, I think.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Right, so we've nearly done an hour. We've had some good questions, some good comments. Thank you all for watching and putting up with our moaning. Paul, thank you very much, mate, for jumping on. Always a pleasure.
You're welcome, Paul.
I'll send you that picture of me in a bikini just after this, when I get my bikini out.
Burn your eyes that one.
I expect you to be greased up correctly this time. Thank you very much.
Was it Nutella or peanut butter?
Oh my God. I'm going to be coconut oil. Coconut oil. Cocoa butter.
They call me Cuban Pete. I'm the king of the rumba beat. Yes, thanks everyone for joining in this impromptu Sunday club. Hopefully we can get the technical gremlins back over where we normally do it. Please do like and subscribe if you are new.
Yes, please.
And give this video a like for us. Please share the stream. Do whatever you want. And if you are watching this after we've finished live, get any questions in that we can pick up next week. Okay, so
yes,
thank you very much. Oh, and also sorry, I have to mention, Paul, is there anything coming up? I know you've just released a video today.
Yeah, just done a video today where I'm kind of whinging a bit about moaning for everybody else and some other stuff, but there'll be the usual bits and pieces, reviews and stuff coming up soon as well. So yeah, watch out. Leeds Therapy if you want to know a little bit more about me.
I need some therapy.
Please please go and subscribe to. We all do. We all do.
I'll be ringing in
Please
next week.
do go subscribe. Can you tell the people where to find it? I will link it after, Paul, but can you please tell them where to find you? Leeds Therapy, is it?
Leeds Therapy on YouTube. You can find me PDB1980 on Twitter. Same on Instagram. I'm more on Twitter than Instagram though. So yeah, get onto there, and I'll if you follow me, I might follow you back.
Oh, there we go. Oh, and some special news from us. We have surpassed the 600 mark. So thanks everyone for subscribing. Everyone new. Please, the road to 700 begins. And hopefully we shall. The Friday pod on Friday is yet to be a thing. So please do. I'm just rambling. I'm really tired. I'm sorry. I'm really tired.
Friday is yet to be thing. Oh,
look out on our socials for the Not Another Leeds podcast on next Friday. James, are you with us?
I will be beaming in, mate. Yes.
Boom. Thank you. Right then. So thanks very much, everyone. Smash that like and subscribe, and we will see you next Friday.